Hey everyone, my name is Zian, and in this tutorial series, I'll be showing you how to make a text-based choose your own adventure game using Python and a database. So what's that, you may ask? Well, I'll get into the program and show you straight away. Alright, so I'll go ahead and just start the program there, and I'll zoom you guys in on this, but as you can see there, it's the adventure game, and it'll be starting as you see the delayed start. You enter a cave, there's a small waterway running through. On your right, you see stairs leading up to another opening. Alternatively, you can go straight and follow the water path. Let's enter. You can choose whether to go straight or right. Now, I'll go ahead and continue to go straight, so I'll choose one. And more text, so you continue following the water, and as you go along, you notice what looks like a slope on the left wall. Going ahead, you can see if you either, go back towards the entrance, climb up the slope, or continue moving forward. So I'll go ahead and just climb up the slope. As you climb up, you see light getting closer and closer. You reach the top and realize that it's too deep to go back down. So you can attempt to go back down, head into a well room. So as you can see there, you've got choices to make based on what you choose to go through. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to go down, and whoop, I accidentally stepped on a loose rock and I slip and fall down. So that's the end of the game. And that's game over. So yeah, that's pretty much the text-based game that we're going to be making in this series. So in this episode, what we'll be doing is we'll create the database for it, where all the stories or all the decisions come into play. And then the next part will be getting to the code. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to that. All right. Here's the database for the story game that I showed you earlier, and as you can see there are two tables, one named choices and the other outcomes. Now it is up to you what name you'd like to call it, as long as you remember what you've named it, because we're going to be referring back to these tables in our program. Now, before we actually continue, for those wondering, I am using DB browser for SQLite or SQLite. It's enough for what we need through this tutorial and these videos in terms of creating and browsing database files for our Python program. Now, if you are wondering how you can install and use DB browser for SQLite, simply go to a web browser and just type in DB browser for SQLite. SQL. Just don't mind that. So go ahead, DB browser for SQLite, and just install or download the latest version. Now, this actually is not an application, so I'm not sure if I can show you here. It's not going to be an application whatsoever. As you can see, it's just the installer there for me. There's no application. To actually be able to open it, what you actually need to do is, I'll show you here on my downloads. So I've got a empty folder here. If I just go ahead and right click, and before you actually do that, make sure that you have view, show, and make sure you have file name extensions. This is going to be really important for this. So what you got to do is go right click new, and just do a text document. Now, as you can see there, my text document has .txt at the end. What you want to do is you want to remove all of that and pretty much create a database. So I'm just going to name these story tutorial, and I'm going to put it with a .db extension or file. And what that pretty much does is it says that, okay, this is not a text document, it's actually a database file. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer it or convert it into one. So am I sure that I want to change it? Yes. And as you can see there, that changed straight away. Now, it might not show as the DB browser for now. So what you might have to do is just right click and click open with, and then choose another app and locate your DB browser. I usually think you can find it at the program files on your C drive. And yeah, with that, you can just go ahead and double click and open it, and you have your new database. Now in this, you can create a table. So if you just click here to create a table there, you can type it in SQL format, or you could just use the UI here where you can just add what type of field, the name. Is it not null? So that means it has to have a value. Is it a primary key? Is it auto incrementing, I should say? So that's like, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to continue 5, 6, 7, 8 as you create new fields. Or is it unique? So it's its own value. It can't have, there can't be any duplicates in these fields. All right. So that's pretty much what it's like to add a table. Now what I'll do here is I'll just show you. Once you add a table, call it field 1. I believe don't need to add more. I think you just gotta name table anything. So let's just say tutorial table and click OK. Now what you can do with this table to edit it is you just right click and click browse. And as you can see there, you have your fields, field 1 and 2, and all you have to do to create a new record is to just click this button here that inserts a new record in the current table. And as you can see there, perfectly, it adds a another field that you can fill in. Now you can fill it in on the text box itself. I think this was an integer, so it has to be a number. Or you can choose to use the text editor on the right hand here to do that. And same thing with the other. The cell editor contains data not yet applied, so do you want to play it back? Yep, okay, just apply this. So yeah. And again, if you want to create a new one, just go ahead and insert another and type in. So that's pretty much how you use DB browser for SQLite. And it's pretty much what we're going to be using for our story tutorial. So let's go ahead and go back to our database, the choices and outcomes. And as you can tell, they are pretty self-explanatory. So the choices table just shows all the choices, whether, you know, you can continue to straight, go head deeper, or, you know, head right, head back, all those things, and what outcome it will lead to. And that will be shown on the outcomes table. So let's say here, you chose number 11, for example, and you see here, you walk through the door, and as you keep going through the passage, you come across a bridge. So you've got some options there, and a choice is required to be made. And those options are either 11 or 12. So let's go back to our choices table. And as you can see here, 11 or 12, you either choose to cross the bridge or head back to the pools. And that will be shown there. Now, obviously, in terms like, okay, here, number 9, you've got no choice. So this is just a continuation of the storyline. You attempt to go back down the slope. However, you accidentally stepped on a loose rock and you slip and fall down. So you don't make a choice at all. And actually, what it does is it's not showing a choice here. So this is where it kind of gets confusing, but I'll explain it all later in the video. But as you can see there, it actually gives you an outcome instead, and that outcome is game over. So it doesn't, like, you know, say, oh, you've got a choice, and that choice is to continue straight ahead. No, because, well, you slipped and you fell down, and that's pretty much game over for you. So it goes straight into game over. And that is where the choice required actually plays an important role, because if there is a choice, then, well, it's gonna show you a choice. If there isn't a choice, then it's going to show you a outcome. So again, like this, 7, you go through the corridor, all these texts, there's no other choice left. You go to 8, well, you cross the bridge and it suddenly collapses and you fall down. The end. And it goes straight to 1 again, which is game over. Or, you know, you could win. And that's number 2. I believe there is a winning one, and that is this one here. So you walk up the stairs in the light from the torch, and yeah, this is this, and you get gold, an immeasurable amount of gold. So you win the game. So there is an ending, but as you can see, there is also a lot of downfalls. And that's where what we're going to be building and where we're going to be referencing in our Python program. So I'm just showing you how the database relates with each other, the choices and the outcomes. And again, recap, you make a choice and that goes into an outcome. The outcome either gives you a choice or doesn't. And whether it does, so if it does give you a choice, then it will give you more choices to choose from. And if it doesn't, well, it gives you more outcomes to read. So yeah, now that we've discussed pretty much the tables and the database and how they all work towards each other, let's go ahead and have a look at the database itself, like the structure of it. You know, are these integers, text, are they unique values or not? And let's go ahead and go through the choices first. As you can see, it's very small. It's only got 3 columns, ID, text, and the outcome. And ID, as you can see there, it's a unique integer. So that's pretty much numbers from 1 to however many choices you'd like to make. Unique being, you know, you can't have the ID 1 for a choice and then another ID called 1 as well, or another choice with the ID 1 as well. So just keeping it there. Text, as you can see there, text is just the flavor text of what pretty much you want to make your choice to be. So whether that's opening a door, going through a passage, crossing a bridge, turning right, all of that. And this is not null, so making sure that there is no blank choice. You know, you can't just be like, yeah, silent. So, and then there is the outcome for it. And this outcome is also an integer, which correlates to the outcomes table. And it's also not null. So there has to be an outcome for a choice that you make. Otherwise, why would you make the choice? Or how can you make choices without, you know, consequences or rewards? Again, if you have any questions with how to create the choices table or, you know, anything at all, just let me know down in the comments. I'm happy to talk about it a little bit more and explain it to you a little bit more. Yeah, so that's with the choices table, and I'll show you here how, well, I mean, I've kind of showed it already how I've created it, but as you can see there, it's just 1 to 15 because it's a very short story. And the text as well. So the text is very verb based. So, you know, attempt to go down, head into a well-lit room, you continue moving forward. So these are choices. And obviously the outcome that I want to happen based on these choices. All right, now let's go to the outcomes table and see what kind of values or data that we're looking at. So again here, ID, same thing. Not null, unique. Now, I guess I could also make this not null. Doesn't really make a difference whether it's null or not null. It's always going to be, it's always going to have a value because you're always trying to reference to that ID, but that's okay. Text, again, text not null, what your flavor text is, what you want to happen with that outcome. Do you want them to fall down a cliff? Do you want them to earn lots of money? Choice required. Now these ones are, as you can see there, they're all just integers. The reason why is because you don't want them to be unique. You're gonna have definitely duplicates. If players choose to go back, then you know you have duplicate choices to make. And also the choice required as well, because this is only a boolean, which is true or false. Is there a choice required or is there not a choice required? So you don't want that unique to, as well. And not only that, but not null, you actually don't want that too, because for a boolean, it's true is 1 and false is 0. And in this database browser, if you do 0, or in the database, if you actually do 0, it means it's null. There's nothing there, non-existent. And we don't want that, because if you actually set that to not null, that means we can't have the 0 integer. Same thing with the choices, because sometimes you only have 1 choice, sometimes you have 2, and sometimes you have 3. Look, sometimes games could have like 10 choices, and if you want to have 10 choices, then feel free to add more columns for choices. I tend to see the sweet spot being 3 choices, otherwise it will just be so overwhelming. So yeah, 3 choices, integers could be duplicated, and can be null as well, so it can be a 0, because sometimes I could only have 2 choices and not the third. Yeah, so hopefully that clears it up, and I'll show you guys the browse table. As you can see there, ID, unique, 17 outcomes, either game over, you win, or other outcomes as well. It could be a full storyline, like entire paragraphs, as you can see there, or it could be a single sentence as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's how you make a choices and outcomes table, or a database, I should say, for your text-based adventure game. Now, again, if you guys have any questions as to what you should be putting into each of these columns or into each of these records, data, let me know down below. I'll try my best to, you know, clear it up a little bit more and help you out. But other than that, I mean, the first part is to really get a story going. I am not a, I'm not a writer or anything like that, so all my words are definitely not grammatically correct, nor are they even interesting to read. I'll be honest, it's very like straightforward. Hey, you attempt to go down the door, but I really hope that you guys can make way better prompts than I can. And you know what? If you actually send me your database, I'll put it into my program and I will play through your game. I mean, I'll have a read through, you know, go through this text-based adventure that you have made. And it's going to be like, I bet it's going to be really fun. I really love these games where, you know, your choices affects the ending or the outcome, I should say. So yeah, now in the next episode, I will be going through the program. So this was just a an introduction of what it's going to look like, and also how to create the database so that you're ready for the program. And that will actually be coming on, well, tomorrow. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll catch you guys next time.